Let madness consume you.
Enough! You cannot break me like you broke my father! N'Zoth is restoring his flesh, champions. Do not relent!
Straight out of the Scarlet Halls, I'm Slidewhistle.
I am Immunization.
And I'm Aaron, Fire Mage Extraordinaire, Horde Punching Bag, and a little silly boy who's sipping on some Jungle Vine wine.
Ooh, what is Jungle Vine wine? What's the flavor of Jungle Vine wine?
Well, I think it's supposed to be some sort of like fancy cranberry wine type thing out of the WoW cookbook, but Cubby Bub and I made it out of just some weird vodka, but we were like, well, we don't have these fresh ingredients, but we got this old apple, so that counts. And I got this Meyer brand cranberry juice, so that counts. So it's a very ghetto version, but we're using that WoW cookbook, baby. I'm in that Stranglethorn sipping wine.
Well, this is definitely the podcast of odd mixed drinks because of the protesting and the rioting. A lot of stores are closed, so we can't get our usual booze supply, so we have to play Frankenstein as well.
Yeah, our go-to Walgreens on the corner just got looted a few nights ago, so we were unable to prepare for this podcast this week. So I believe I've made our last vodka tonic for the foreseeable future, and we'll see what other concoctions I will be able to create for this podcast.
I'm really hoping that the political climate leads to you boys finally embracing the gospel of rum water.
I don't think I'll ever embrace rum water, though I am currently embracing about month-old RC Cola and vodka, which I think I have the second to last drink of, so who knows what's coming next. We have some old Jägermeister, we can make like Jaeger water maybe.
Ew.
Ooh, that minty water. Ugh.
I mean, I guess we could just take shots, but it's just not as fun or as satisfying as sipping on a nice, cool mixed drink. I don't know.
Yeah, but these wouldn't be nice mixed drinks anyways.
We'll wait till year 3 of DNR before we're just taking straight up shots.
I don't know, I was thinking about some of our earlier episodes, and I think we just did straight up take shots for like every time warp, so maybe it'll be a throwback.
Yeah, when's the last time we actually took shots for Time Warp and not just like guzzled our drink?
I typically do.
Oh, you still take shots for it? Damn.
I still have a little baby shot glass next to my computer, and I pour it out before we start, here we go.
We just chug our drink, which probably ends up being more than a shot because our drinks are like 2 shots, so we just chug it. So if anything, the shot's probably smarter to bring back, Immune. What are we doing? We're fucking up.
Yeah, we need to get back to our roots here.
Hey, what's a good excuse for not going to work tomorrow? Do you guys have one? Because I don't want to go to work tomorrow.
I mean, shit. Do you want a joke or do you want something that might actually work?
How about this? Give us a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B.
I had bad diarrhea and I need to stay inside because I can't ride the train. Ho!
Yeah, I was just along the same lines thinking you could just call in and say that you're feeling sick, but I feel like we're also among a pandemic, so then they're going to be like, yo, do you have the coronavirus or something?
Also, you could say you got shot in the leg at a protest or something. Although that's not believable because they're not shooting people in the legs out there.
Yeah, Jesus fucking Christ, these videos are disgusting. But they've recently reopened the CTA train system. Uh-oh, it's closing again. But it sounds like before they would basically were limiting all access to downtown, and I transferred downtown to get to where I have to go to work. But they reopened the whole city, so now everyone and their fucking mom is going back to work and packing these fucking trains. And I'm not going to sit in this fucking train with a bunch of nasties who have coronavirus and also maybe rioting or looting at 5 a.m. when I get on the train. There's some crazy people out here. I don't want to deal with that shit. Have you been in any protests, Aaron?
No, not particularly. I am playing a support role in the background right now for a number of reasons, though the biggest one is I don't want to get beamed in the face, and I don't trust my local law enforcement to not shoot me in my face. I have a very gentle face. I don't want to lose an eyeball. I don't even like putting in eye drops.
Basically, what I'm hearing is, fuck the police.
Yep.
All cops are bastards. You heard it here.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Just a bunch of bullies who were too scared to go to the military.
Well, and with that, it's time for what we did in WoW this week. Amin, I'll let you start off with your week in WoW.
So this week, I got one step closer to, what is the achievement where you get all the tour of duties and all the world PvP achievements?
Conqueror of
Azeroth.
Yeah, so I got my tour of duty in Zuldazar. I had call to arms there, so I just went and just hopped from group to group until I got my last 300 honor or whatever I needed. It took a while because every single group I was in decided that the best way to do it was literally try to siege their capital city.
You gotta go to the docks in the capital city and just sit on a building. They always kill you, but it always works.
So that's what I did for 4 hours on and off. I got it done. So now all I need is, I believe, Storm Song. Hopefully next week there's a call to arms or something, because I feel like that's the best time to get it done.
Wait, yeah, so were you in a party, or was it just everybody was also at the docks and you're just a priest just firing smite at them from above?
No, I was hopping from call to arms to call to arms to call to arms group, because it would always get to a point where the groups would fall apart because most of them were just trying to get their 10 kills or whatever. So yeah, I had to hop from group to group, but yeah, I was always in a group, and every single group, I was probably in 10 to 15 groups over the course of this time to try to get all of my honor. All of them use the same strat where it's we're going to wait at the docks for people to spawn in and then kill them. But then as soon as the Horde try to mount a return fire squad here, then they wipe us out pretty quickly because, it's their capital city. There's a lot of them. Then we end up having to jump into the ocean and swim away and spawn back, and then rinse and repeat basically.
I don't remember, but what are the guards like in Zuldazar? Are they present or are they not present? I don't think they are present, right?
I don't remember there being a lot of guards, but I do remember a lot of shopkeeper NPCs that have far too much health, and they show up and try and punch you.
Yeah, so they weren't strong, those guys, but they were annoying. But they did, I don't think they were necessarily guards, but they're one or two really strong NPCs. There's one that was just this really, really strong fire mage type NPC, or this one really strong death knight NPC. I'm who are these people? Actually, now that I think about it, they might be the Horde equivalent of their island expedition teams.
Oh no, the fucking islanders were out there fighting?
I believe so, because I was straight up being hit by Death Knight abilities when there wasn't a Horde Death Knight, and I was straight up being hit by mage abilities as well.
That's bullshit. Our fucking island people are tucked away in the corner where no one's ever gonna go. We don't even go over there. So why would the Horde go over there? And they're just out in the open defending their fucking waters? Fuck that.
Fucking Garl Snarltooth of the Rough Raiders is eating a sandwich all the time. I don't even think that guy has animations to get up and punch people.
Wait, we should actually test that. We should go in on our Horde characters, Borealis, and see if the island people fight us. I'm actually really curious now.
I think it's just also the location, because their dock, which is by that area, is easily accessible by us, whereas I think if the Horde wanted to attack ours, they'd have to go through a lot of other things first.
Yeah, when the Horde attack Borealis, they either just sit on our roof above the inn, or they for some reason go to attack Proudmoore Keep, which I don't know why it's such a hot area. Are they trying to kill Jaina or something?
Cubby Bub saw a guy slithering in the canal area, sort of between the two, and she was like, Aaron, what is he doing? And I said, oh, it's a Horde guy. He's probably trying to sneak in. And she was like, why? And I was like, I wish I knew.
The answer we all wish we had.
But yeah, that was the main thing I did in WoW this week. How about you, Slide?
This week was a little light, but I still have a gripe that happened when I was doing my call to arms in Nazjatar. Why the fuck does the Horde in New Home, why do they get so many guards? Their guards will fight to the end of the fucking earth, while the guards of Mesomir, who even are they? Do we have guards of Mesomir?
I've never seen a fucking Ankoan move, let alone leave the city, but I've been chased by 17 Scrogs every time I even think of going by New Home.
Yes. So in my most recent stint, I was being chased by maybe like 8 or 9 sea giants, and the sea giants, they did not break their leash. They chased me down the fucking bridge we all fight on. They chased me into Mesomir. They chased me past the guards. Like, they were chasing me down into like the pathway you take to get into the regular part of Nazjatar. And their guards were just punching our guards and killing them. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, literally, it's just the Horde guards are invading the town. Not even the Horde players, just the guards. I don't understand why they made it like this.
Yeah, and it's not even just the guards. It's like giant-ass sea giants, too. It's like, where the fuck are our sea giants, huh?
My favorite is when there's like 8 or 9 sea giants, and then you have that little tiny like sea goblin guy hitting you, and I'm like, what are you doing down here, man? You're like beneath like their kneecaps, and he's like in the middle of them, like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck him up. I don't know. I just feel like fucking all the Horde developers are like, we're going to give our city more guards, and we're going to give their city less guards, and that'll teach them a lesson why they're playing dirty little alliance. Fuck y'all. Y'all nasty.
I'm going to hop on my soapbox for the briefest thing. I have always hated PvP in Nazjatar because of the buddy system. Everyone gets a buddy, which means when I'm trying to fight people, I have to tab target past just Gelbins the entire time, or Gorbins, whatever the aqua goblins are. It's awful. Don't do that again, Blizzard.
And it doesn't really help that because I think it is Gelbin. No, it's not Gelbin, right? It's Giblins, whatever. They're little goblins. So let's not. I'm gonna fuck this goblin up.
It's Gilbins because they have gills.
Oh, that's stupid. But yeah, so I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna fuck this goblin up. And I'm like, oh, it's a Gilbin. There's not an actual goblin. Oh, it's nope, also a Gilbin. And then there's that one goblin in the middle of them all. And I'm like, oh, that's the player in the middle of all these. We have fish people. No one's confusing our fish people for actual players because we don't have a model that looks like that. I don't know. I think it's stupid. I just want them to. I'm still asking for them to open up Nazjatar because I don't want to go there on my alts. Can we get that pushed through? Can we get more guards in Mesomir or less guards in fucking New Home? But to be fair, maybe part of the reason why there are more guards is because whenever Battle for Nazjatar is up, fucking Ruin Gaming absolutely destroys Blizzard's servers. Like, I have never had so much lag in World of Warcraft than I have doing Battle for Nazjatar. It's absolutely insane. We will have the whole server will be chugging. You're moving at like maybe like 3 frames a second, and people in all chat who are just there to like quest and aren't doing the battle, they're like, the server going down, what's happening, why am I lagging? And we're like, because there's literally like 100,000 alliance in New Home trying to farm 25 kills for the Battle for Nazjatar achievement. That's every fucking like hour that happens.
God bless.
God bless me. What about you, Aaron? What was your week in the World of Warcraft like?
This week in the World of Warcraft, I just, I played very lightly this week. Most of it was taking care of my boy Wigglestein, just getting him some equipment, getting him geared. He's like 435, so he can play with the big boys now. I have reached a unfortunate thing. So he's Windwalker, which means he uses one-handed weapons, but he doesn't actually use them because he punches, so they're just on his back. I have these 2 pistol axes that are on my back, and he looks so cool when he's actually holding them. And I'm like, is there any class that can use one-handed weapons and like actually use them? And I'm pretty sure Frost DK is the only one. And I'm like, but I don't want to play a Frost DK, but I do want to see these cool axes. I am at such a quandary.
Demon hunters can use one-handeds.
Never.
I think rogues. One of the rogues might be able to. Can Outlaw use one-handeds?
Outlaw. I think you have to. Hold on. Let me yell at my Outlaw person.
Hey, what's wrong with Outlaw? Oh, I look at a lot.
I'm being informed that Outlaw Rogue, you can use any 2 one-handeds.
You're hot off the press. Hot off the news.
Hot off the news from resident Outlaw Rogue, Cubby Bub herself. You can use any 2 one-handeds. So, I don't know. Like, I love Wigglestein. I actually do like playing with him. But it's always so upsetting seeing him at the loading screen, holding those 2 cool pistol axes. And I know it's a far-off dream.
Oh.
Poor Wiggle Man. He's never going to be 100% loved, is he?
There's always something, it seems.
There are many, many, many obstacles in his way to true love.
Honestly, he has probably the most obstacles. Like, Jesus.
While we're on the topic of true love, I am going to pull Time Warp.
Whoa! Oh, no. Kissy, kissy.
So
I feel like I have the
this week's-
same response to Time Warp every week. It's like Time Warp, and I'm just going to put the mic in my mouth and just scream.
just eat it.
So this week's Time Warp is a little different. I found the 2020 MMO Champ Love is in the Air favorite WoW couples poll, and I'm going to give you guys 40 seconds to see which of you guys can correctly name the most of the top 5 vote getters. So there's the top
so-
5 couples. So it's like I'll say they don't need to officially be a couple. Just think
Okay.
about what MMO Champ voters would think of when they want somebody to be listed in this poll as a couple.
I love this.
This is awful. I'm going to be so mad after this.
So, on your mark, get set. You have 40 seconds. Go.
Nathanos and
Sylvanas,
Sylvanas.
Anduin and Rathian,
Anduin
Malfurion
and Jaina.
Tyrande, Agra
Um,
and Thrall,
Thrall
Thrall and Jaina.
Shit.
Um,
Lady First Arcanist Lor'themar and Lor'themar. Lor'themar and Sylvanas.
Bane and Anduin.
Thrall and Sylvanas. Fucking. Illyria
Bane
and
and
Anduin. Illyria and Turalyon.
Oh my god, damn it, fuck.
Anduin
and
Time.
Jaina.
Emperor Therusian. Me and me.
The tough part about that is
So-
people are dumb. So characters that would have nothing to do with each other, I'm like, yeah, but they're the same race, so people are going to say they should fuck.
Okay, so I'm just going to list the top 5 in order. I believe the score is Slide scored 2 and Aaron scored 1, but correct me if I scored this wrong, because like a few of them you guys said about the same time. And the number 1 vote getter was Arthas and Jaina.
I think that was
That's a
one
weird-
that I got.
That's a weird fucked. Why would they vote that one number 1? That's fucked up.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like is it like old school people
Well,
that are
they,
like, yeah,
they
it's
did.
like the old couple.
Yeah, they did have sex that one Halloween.
But to vote that like your favorite couple, like they're a disaster together. Like it does not
People
work out. It's so
clearly
bizarre.
haven't played past Warcraft 3. They're holding on to that nostalgia.
So the second highest vote getter was actually other. So it was like write-in candidates because like as you guys could imagine, it was a bunch of random shit. So I won't count that one. But so technically on my list, the number 2 vote getter, you guys both said this about the same time, but I think Slides might have said it first. Sylvanas and Nathanos.
Yeah, he said it slightly before me.
Number 3, I believe Slide also said, is Malfurion and Tyrande. And number 4, Aaron got, like at the last second, Turalyon and Illyria. And the last one that I'm counting, 5th place here, is Gen and Mia Greymane.
Ooh, what?
Anyone
Wait a
thought
minute.
about Mia Greymane?
Right?
I'm a Worgen and I don't even think about Mia Greymane.
How often do they even talk about Mia? Like, I didn't know she was even a person until she saved the elves in Teldrassil.
And that might have been on people's minds too, I'm not sure.
Nobody said Anduin and Rathian, but they said
Hey,
fucking
I say,
Arthas.
they said other, though, which means
No, exactly.
Anduin and Rathian is technically the number 2 choice.
Is there a way to see like the write-ins to see like what people chose?
So the poll's old and I couldn't like look at that specifically, but in the comments of it, the top voted comment was basically saying, no Anduin and / Rathian, homophobia.
And I agree.
But some honorable mentions, like just outside of the top 5, were Ronin and Varisa, Deathwing and Sinestra, and Duratan and Draco.
Whoa, the dragon one. You know what's funny is that I was secretly hoping it was my time warp when I asked you today because I was also going to do just couples in general in WoW. So this is funny that you also did it.
Yeah, this is a weird time warp. Sorry if it was kind of out there, but I guess this one goes to Slidewhistle.
Hopefully Aaron has that little baby shot glass ready to go today.
Oh, I always do. Metal Gear Solid shot glass. Here we go.
Ooska-doo, we shot too.
I'm back.
Well, I also finished my drink because why not?
I must say, I am simultaneously upset and proud of the community by doing mostly canonical couples. I was ready. I feel like I gimped myself by not even considering. Like, Malfuri and Tyrande, I was like, that's too easy. No one actually does, like, heterosexual things like that. It's got to be weird gay outliers.
Oh, come on, what? You don't fucking love good old Bane and Varian / fic?
Bane and Anduin spoke once, so they're fucking on the internet.
I mean, they exchanged love letters for a while. But I guess, like, the only one in the top 5 that wasn't a really real official couple is Sylvanas and Nathanos, right?
Oh, come on. It's official. You know that she's pegging him every night.
I mean, it hasn't been explicitly said, I suppose.
Take my reign, Nathanos. Yes,
okay.
My lady.
Now, okay, on the subject of Sylvanas pegging Nathanos, we know that the undead do a lot of weird stuff with, like, abominations. Do you think she would have, like, someone, like, stitch on, like, an undead penis to her? Like, the abominations they stitch together just for, like, the night?
Oh, my.
Because, like, it's...
I am through.
Because they're both dead, right? So they're probably like, oh, it's fine. It's just some guy's penis from nearby. It's okay.
My dark lady, did you bring the stitch on? You know I always bring the stitch on.
The stitch on! Wow, how did we get here? We some nasty boys today.
We are the others category in this poll.
We are the personification of other.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about Raid and what our feelings were on the ending of the achievement run for Eternal Palace.
Well, I feel like it was really front-loaded, and it was not as hard the second time, but I will say I was a little tilted by the fact that we decided to go back and do every single achievement, some of them for people who aren't even in the guild, but just happen to be friends with the raid lead, and why are all of us being forced to redo all of this stuff on heroic when it's not even for fellow guildies?
SMH.
I originally was upset because I was like, we are gonna have to do the same shit over and over again. Think about it, took us like, I don't know, 9 or 10 tries to do the Orgazoa one, and I'm like, we're gonna fucking wipe on this again, and it's gonna take us fucking forever for one person who literally isn't in the guild. He's just like a friend in another guild, and I'm like, it goes beyond just a friend. Like, they're always hanging out and stuff, you know what I mean? But it's like, he's not even in the guild. Why are we doing it again? But it's fine though, because we did one-shot everything, right? We one-shot everything before he needed the achievements. So it worked out.
Yeah, it ended up being a full raid night when I feel like we could have easily shaved off an hour at least. But the achievements that we got that we didn't have as of last recording, starting with the one that Aaron, Cubbybub, and I did not get, the one with the Queen's Court.
Yes, and I have some sour grapes against that one. I'm maybe a little bit of an edgy child, but we had done it. No one had messed up except for one person who had died. We were all told, oh no, it's okay. We'll just kill ourselves for that one. And I was almost going to get in the comms like, no, we won't. Like, this this person knows what to do. She can come back on her own time. I don't want to. I even told Cubbybub, I was sitting here pensively grabbing my computer. I said, that's probably the one time we'll ever get this correct. We're about to fuck it up again, and I won't get this achievement because of this person. But then
I saw you firing fireballs so fucking rapidly. I'm like, oh, Aaron's going for the kill right now.
Yeah, I was going to kill it because I was like, Raider be damned, I don't care. She doesn't deserve the Ray.
At the very least, she is at least raiding with us every single week, unlike the guy that we previously mentioned.
Yes, and then we did kill ourselves, and we did it more organized, and we ended up doing it.
But no, I felt that too. There was a lot of struggling between her and the guy we previously mentioned. I feel like they were the last two to get it, to get the like salute all the different emote ones, right?
They were. Well, also, I think Brio also, for some reason, Brio was fucking it up. I don't know what was happening. I think he might have been pressing the applaud button back to back twice, and so it fucked it up because you can only do it once apparently, which I think is weird that it doesn't let you do the same thing twice in a row. But he also didn't have it up to a certain point as well. So it was just a lot of confusion or a little bit of confusion amongst people on that one. I could feel you guys sweating bullets over there.
Yeah, meanwhile, you're over there like, I already got it yesterday, I'm fine.
I was just soaking my bubbles and doing my stuff.
But after that one, I believe everything went pretty smoothly. After that boss, it's,
My boy, Yang Ghoul. He's a big, faceless one who pulls you into various realms, and his whole achievement is if you dispel a certain attack he does on 6 spots, he'll open up a portal to the cow level, where there are just 10 cows that you have to kill in there before killing the boss.
I'm not gonna lie, I thought the cow level would look a little cooler. I thought it would just be more than 10 to 15 cows scattered around. I thought we'd be actually transported to a meadow of cows or something.
Because that's what it is in Diablo, right? What it's referencing. There's an actual cow level.
It's Zakul, you can do better than this, man. You can give us so much better than just 15 cows in a room.
The same room. It didn't even look any different. This was another boss fight where I felt like I was personally called on to help the success of this one. They're like, yeah, I mean, you could just mass dispel and then we can knock out 2 at once.
What would they have done if you weren't there? Because I feel like you were integral in a lot. I mean, we would have figured it out, obviously, but you were integral in a lot of these achievements we had to do.
Yeah, because then after the cow one, we are down to Queen Ajara, and again, they wanted me to be one of the last 2 standing.
I think you need to start an official petition to just be someone out there needs to be a priest. One of these druids needs to priest it up. Because we can't have just one of one role, because what if your roommate comes back and then you don't play? Then they have no fort buff. They have no priest.
That's true. I didn't even think about the fort buff part until I think this last week when it was specifically mentioned. I was like, yeah, I guess that's true. Without me, there's no fort buff, and that brings down the overall damage because of Twilight Dev too.
Yeah, I mean, we can get a little one of those little. There's an enchantment I think that applies a soft fort buff, but it's only 7% fort or 8% fort, so it's not as good. But yeah, for the last achievement, we went over raid time, right? We ended at maybe 15 to 20 minutes after our usual time slot. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I believe so. We went late just because we wanted to finish it, because we blew our shot on doing it on what level?
On normal, because we had to go back on normal to do the earlier achievements because we already done them on heroic. So we blew it on normal, literally 1%, and the person blew it up with Twilight Dev. And which, by the way, the achievement is, for whatever reason, you have to kill a Shara with only one person remaining, and they have to have a specific buff.
Yeah, and in the last phase, it seems to apply that buff to several people. I don't know exactly how many people, but basically what they said is they wanted everyone besides, I believe, 2 of the tanks and myself to just die before entering this last phase. I would keep them alive, and then I would kill myself, and then one of the tanks would also kill themselves, and then the one remaining tank would finish it for us. That was the strat.
It's kind of a stupid achievement, and honestly, that had to be hell to get if you were doing this regularly when the content was current.
It may have happened on accident, though.
I remember hearing, though, that there were some, people were doing it. You know, obviously, how we all have, Azerite essences and whatever, but if somebody ruined the achievement because they cast their Crucible of Flame on Ashara, and then they died, when the last person was standing fighting her, she still had the burning dot of Crucible on her, and the dot did the last damage, and it credited the kill to somebody who was dead, not to the last man standing, and so it didn't count for that achievement. So there were a lot of nuances to it with dots and shit.
Oh, that's crazy, and that's why they asked us all to stop our dots too.
which as a fire mage is very difficult because I put a dot on a person by just looking at them. So I would be like, okay, I need to not hit her with attacks like a minute and a half before the no more dots thing. So a solid like 3 minutes before we killed her, I was just looking around like, what's in the background?
And there's a lot of Naga and fishies out there.
There are. I had a fun time.
And as an Unholy Death Knight, one of my main skills is a dot. So I'm like, okay, don't press the dot. Don't press the dot. And then like, we need more damage. Okay, more damage. I got this. And I press my dot and I'm like, fuck, God damn it. I swear to God, if my dot ruins this, because I'm pretty sure she died with my dot on her. So I was like, oh, come on.
Oh, so you just got lucky that your tick of your dot wasn't the killing shot?
Yes. We, not just me, we got lucky. Everybody got lucky.
Wow, Slide.
Everybody has those days.
Everybody makes mistakes.
Third line.
Everybody knows what I'm talking about. Everyone gets that way.
I think so, but that seems honestly like kind of a bad song. It seems like it's encouraging you to be bad on purpose sometimes.
I mean, it's a Hannah Montana song. I don't know what you expect.
Anyways, Hannah Montana and Miley Cyrus aside, we had to do it again. But then we did it correctly the second time.
We all got our mounts. How would you guys rate this mount in your mount collection scale?
Bad.
Okay, so what's the scale we're using here, I guess?
The scale is going to be from bad to I love it. So fall somewhere between those two.
I'm going to rate it as a solid mediocre.
Mediocre?
And that's mainly because it's a golden pancake, basically, and it matches my current set, which is completely golden.
Now, I'm not going to lie, calling it golden is being a little bit generous, but I'll let you have that one.
Yes, because I'm going to come in here and say, viewers, or listeners rather, if you haven't seen it, it's banana mustard yellow, and it is a ray, which is a type of creature that I was like, I don't really want to ride one of those. So I got on it, and even though it's flying, I don't think I even have it in my favorite flying mount, like, rotation. I'm just like, you're neat.
I guess I get why Immune likes it, but I'm surprised that you don't like it, being a couple banana heads you two are. You don't like the banana pancake slug.
Ugh, even when it's not your fucking time warp, you have to bring that shit in here.
I am pursuing legal action. This is slander.
I think that the mount it's below just okay. Because I'm pretty sure I already have other rays that are just colored differently. Colored better, I would say, for my stuff. I don't know. I just feel like all the past mounts for tied to like this kind of achievements have just looked so much cooler and so much more unique than like just a fucking banana manta ray. I don't know.
So y'all heard it here.
Even in BFA, like the Krog is a Krog. It's harder to get those on the Alliance. That's neat. The big flying terror sword, that's really cool. And then Pancake.
Yeah, that's honestly quite a dip. What is the one for Nyalotha? Do we know?
I do
a
not
big stinky
know,
bug.
I know that the one for N'Zoth that he drops is the like purple sea jellyfish slug. Not slug. I keep saying slug. He's like a purple like Kazumoth looking mount with like eyeballs on him. But I don't know what the achievement one is. Oh, whatever. I see it now, and that one's honestly might be a little stinkier.
So, for the listener, the one that you get from Glory of the Nyalotha Raider is this giant flying worm thingy that is purple and it has no eyes. It just has a giant mouth with creepy teeth, and it's also in chains.
We have a billion of these bloodworm fucking mounts now, like, and they use the same model as the dragons in Pandaria, so they do that weird thing where like they scratch their face with their legs, but they don't have fucking legs. They're just a fucking flying worm. So whatever. Who cares?
Well, I have a lot of dragons, but no worms, so bring it on, Nyalotha achievements. You're better than the pancake to me.
I'll put worms in your pancakes.
Ew.
No. Speaking of worms in your pancakes, it's my girl Growlita! Yeah! Howdy there, partners. Growlina here with your weekly dose of interview goodness. This week, I'm here with Tantalo. Tan, I've had a burning question that has been rattling around in my brain that I just need addressed. I'm sure I can help you with that. What's the question? How can Blizzard make fishing more important in Shadowlands? How can we ensure that everyone is playing the King's game come 2021? Well, I'm thinking you do some sort of dungeon or raid boss where you have to fish. Ooh, tell me more. Well, it could be you have to damage a boss with a specific weapon or something, and you have to fish it up to get ammo or find it. Oh, snap! I thought you were goofing, but that's actually a pretty great idea. Yeah, and you could use lures to ensure that the boss goes faster. People would have guild banks full of lures, LOL. Well, let me get old Chrissy Metz on the phone, cause that's an A+ idea. Will I go and max out my hooking and baiting skills? How about we bring it back to the show? Absolute amazing reporting once again, Growlina. There is no way you can get better until next week, where I'll probably say you're better.
She's growing and growing. She's going to be the top reporter soon. I feel it. I'm going to see her on my TV screen one day.
She'll be getting shot with good old rubber pellets, which will, I guess, be a welcome change from the usual things she gets shot with.
I guess technically if she does join the American journalist team, she'll be a foreign journalist, so maybe she'll get hit in the stomach with a shield, like the fucking Australian reporters got hit by. Did you see that shit?
I did not, but doesn't surprise me.
Fucking nuts. Speaking of fucking nuts, I got a fucking nuts love story from our new girl. Fuck, what's her name again?
Madeleine Roux!
Madeleine Roux!
Our girl Madeleine Roux comes back with a brand new tale that is sure to put you to sleep.
It's funny you say that because before the podcast, I laid down in bed and opened it up and was going to read it because I knew we were going to talk about it tonight. And I may or may not have took an unexpected nap halfway through this short story.
Now, I'm not gonna lie, it's nothing against Madeleine, because I also said, this is fucking boring, but I'm pretty sure it's just because of the content and the characters that we had to fucking listen to, which are two fucking elves that nobody fucking cares about.
Yeah, so in this short story, we have the love story of Lor'themar and first Arcanist Thelrisra.
And not only is it a love story, but it is probably the most blood elf. I mean, I guess they kind of were hinting at being more high elves in this, I feel like. You know what I mean? Like, they're giving off a lot of, like, past life, high elf, undead, attacked me, blah, 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 bullshit. But they're doing it through, like, a poetry slam. And I'm like, no, of all the things to do, it has to be a fucking poetry slam?
Yeah, so basically the story here is Lor'themar has had a lot of like recent personal conflict over the current status of the Horde and his Blood Elves post Third War. Third War?
Boy, you're at so many wars now.
The one that we just finished was the Fourth War, but he's still belly aching about the Third War.
Right. Okay, so he's belly aching about the Third War, but relating it to the current state of the world after the Fourth War, I believe. There is some weird sexual tension between these two leaders, and the first Arcanist has invited Lor'themar to Suramar for a poetry slam.
Yeah, and don't forget that she invited him during the Najatar campaign. It happened at the end, and then we were like, "Uh-oh, they're gonna fuck." You remember that? And
Wait, do we? So we've had precedents that these two might fuck before.
yeah, so I think it was like at the end of the Najatar campaign, she invited him to Suramar. He says, "Thank you again for leading our forces in Najatar alongside me, Tharissa. Your insight and courage were key to our victory." And then they proceed to flirt for like 8 more lines, and then he accepts to go visit her. And we're like, uh-oh. And here's the fucking uh-oh. The story's the uh-oh.
He eventually accepts her offer. The first several pages of the story are Miss Roux going into very detailed description of his boat ride into the city, which, like, it's fine. It reminded me kind of the one dungeon from Legion. What was that dungeon called?
Fucking Court of Stars, baby.
Oh, good pull, man. That was good. My favorite line from this is he basically is huffing and puffing about teleporting. It says Lor'themar had insisted on coming by sea, by the old way. He wanted to absorb it all, not teleported instantly to the gates of Suramar, but seeing it as it was meant to be seen. Sounds like a dig at flying, doesn't it? It sounds like she's like, we don't need flying. You need to see the ground how the developers want you to see it.
Yeah, Blizzard was like, Madeleine, you need to put as many digs at portals, flying, fast transit as possible to justify why we took away every fucking portal in the game.
That's why she overly talked about like the gondolier too, like his smooth face, his accusatory eyes, because it's like, yeah, you'd miss hot details like this if you just flew on your griffin.
Now, do you think that she wrote it as detailed as it was because it was almost like a steamy romance novel? Because that's kind of the feel that I got.
Yeah, and I don't know. I feel like if there were characters I cared a little bit more about, I wouldn't be nitpicking at this so much. It seemed a little bit too descriptive.
That's probably what it is, because we just don't care about these characters. But it's like, she had dressed for the chill in the air in sumptuous, touchable velvet. Ugh.
She must have had a spell of warmth emanating from the ivory gem placed above her dreads. I'm like, shut the fuck up and just get in the building.
So they get into the building. Well, it actually might be an outside court now that I think about it. But Thalrissa,
all I know is it was domed. They made sure to let us know that every building, every area they entered was domed, as in the Suramar tradition.
Big old domes.
Suramar in domes. So
in domes.
They enter this building or courtyard or whatever where the poetry slam was supposed to be held. Thalrissa leads them in there, and there are these old crusty men who are also sitting in the crowd, and I guess they're here to judge the poetry slam that was about to happen or something. And she insists that Lor'themar goes first with his poetry presentation. All during this time, I feel like this short story would have been a great drinking game if you drink whenever Arkwine is mentioned, because wow.
It's their one
damn addicts.
It's their one excerpt or export.
Yeah, right. He takes the podium like he's giving a presidential speech or something and presents his poem. But before he does it, there's like a backstory about why he chose this particular poem. I didn't particularly like the poem that much. Maybe I'm just not a poetry guy. I don't know.
My favorite was that he basically came prepared with like some hot, steamy sex poems for her. And when he learned there was going to be an audience, he's like, oh, fuck, I got to bring out the fucking depressing poem about Kael'thas because I can't have me hear about how I want to touch her domes.
Oh.
Woohoo!
But also, actually, before he entered, I thought it was interesting that he actually has to fucking do shit now. Because apparently he has no time to do anything. Because his demands between Orgrimmar and Silvermoon are too much. When before his demands were do nothing for the past, 5 expansions? Now he's really busy with stuff to do.
Yeah, because as it mentioned in the short story, he is part of the Horde Council now.
Also, interestingly enough, the podium was brought out by a servant. And they used the word servant like 8 times. And at the very end of the story, the word servant switches to waiter. And I'm like, which is it? Because those are 2 totally fucking different things. Are there slaves in Suramar still?
I mean, you do the same thing for a millennia, and then you're only free for what, like 8 months? It takes a while to change those things.
Damn Horde. But yeah, and then like he reads his poem, and everyone's like, yeah, light applause. And she reads her short ass love poem about him, and everybody fucking gets up and gives her a standing ovation when it was just a mediocre poem. But apparently she delivered it with so much heart and chutzpah that everybody like, oh yeah, we love you. Oh, you're so good.
Side note that has nothing to do with the story. But when Lor'themar told his thing, it said that they politely applauded by, and Thorithra specifically did this, lightly tapping her wrist with her fingers. That was a moment that I had to step away from the computer. I stood up and I just did that for a little while, and I said, what is this?
What a bitch. She's giving like a lighter than a golf clap. It's like oh, I'm royal and I'm going to just give 2 taps on my wrist to say, good job, servant.
It is entirely a visual thing. Like, it produces no sound.
Yeah,
I just imagine the light skin slapping around him like...
Yeah, I was about to say, I literally, when I read that, also tried it out myself, and I'm like, I can't hear anything. This makes no sound. Like, nothing.
It's some fancy shit. So what? Then the poem ends, and all the fucking... How many fancy poets are in Suramar? I mean, I guess it is a high society, like, class, so I'm not surprised that, like, most of them are just drinking wine and just writing poetry all the time. But, like, she gets flooded by fucking people who are like, oh my god, let me dissect your poem! Let me hear about your poem! And she goes, listen, everybody, come back after 2 hours. 2 hours? She's planning on fucking. She wants to fuck Lor'themar right then and there, and then come back to fucking court.
Well, in her defense, she was like, let's have dinner first, and then we can discuss our poem. So she's probably like, the servants need a few hours to prepare our meal.
The slaves.
At that point, she uses this as an excuse for her and Lor'themar to go up to her private room of some sort, and they're just sitting on a couch or across from each other at first, just discussing things. She asks what he thought of her poem, and he said it was fair. And then, like, that caused a little bit of tension for a little bit.
And then she fucking rips into, like, his fucking past and is like, was that poem about Kael'thas? You're wounded. You gotta unpoison your wound. And then he goes into full-on, like, PTSD mode where he's like, I'm haunted every night by this stuff. And I'm like, dude, how long ago was this? I get you're an elf and everything, but holy shit, man, you've been carrying around this,
I feel like being an elf would make it easier for him to move on, because my man's has lived like 1,000 years. It's been what, like 10 years since Warcraft 3? I mean, I know it's super spooky, but I feel like for him that would be like, it's just a drop in the bucket, you feel?
I feel like the kind of vibe they're going with here is he trusted Kael'thas, and he felt personally betrayed, so now he's put up like a shell over himself so that he doesn't really feel too much one way or another anymore. So that's why his reaction to her romantic I want to fuck right now poem was, it was fair.
What a bitch.
And then she's just like, your past is your past, pussy. You need to move on. Have you ever had a night fallen light dimmer Hummer?
I think one of my favorite lines through all this, though, is something we need to fucking get rushed out to Gen Greymane right now. Because Anduin will not act on this, but Gen, he'll hear us out. Lor'themar says, the Horde's armies are depleted. Our treasuries emptied, our resources stretched thin. A blow to us now would, well, I'm sure you can easily imagine the outcome. Let's fucking go! Let's fucking get them! They're weak!
Why wasn't there one alliance man who's like, oh, Gen's gonna love this shit?
We gotta tell somebody. We have to alert the High King. They gotta get out there and beat some ass. I mean, Anduin won't do anything. But Gen, he'll fucking lead an army down there and fuck them up right now.
I think Blizzard basically is saying that both sides are feeling that same thing right now, and that's kind of why the war ended, because both sides were depleted.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be a story in the coming months of Anduin sitting with not his girlfriend, because he'll never get a girlfriend, and say the same thing like, oh, you know, we really aren't at a good time to do a war again.
Boo. But then their love affair gets interrupted by a messenger who I am mad we didn't get more details about, because this man interrupts them as they're like about to make out. And then he goes, "Message for you, Regent Lord. I'm afraid it's urgent. You are needed at once in Orgrimmar." And then they cut him off. Like, let him explain why. What's happening in Orgrimmar? Give us some more deets to lead us in. And then the fucking servant comes back, but now he's a waiter. And the waiter is like, "Get out of here, messenger. We gotta leave him alone because they
He
gotta
earned
fuck."
his rights now. Interrupting the messenger because his lady needed to fuck, he upgraded his job status.
He's like, "Whenever she fucks, I get beat less. Please let them fuck."
I will say, at this point, Lor'themar has one of the strongest diss tracks dropped in a minute with his line to get the servant to leave.
"By the grace of the Sunwell, be gone." And then they just kiss, right? They just kiss as the ending.
They kiss, and it's like, nothing could separate them from this kiss. This leads me to, do you think they're going to be pushed as a new, like, super duper power couple to be like, the Horde is stronger than ever? Or do you think Shadowlands, one of these two, is going to kick the bucket? Because
That's exactly what I was going to fucking say.
Yeah, because if one of them kicks the bucket, then it has established who would roll both, I guess.
It has dramatic weight, especially because Lor'themar's like, "I loved Kael'thas, and I believed in him." And we know Kael'thas is going to show up as a member of the Revendreth, so they're going to go stab each other to death in a field and be like, Lor'themar will be like, "I beat my big bully, I'm justified, And then when he dies, Thorithra will be like, "Oh no, my love, now I lead all Horde elves."
Whoa, that would be crazy, because I was just going to say, if they kill Lor'themar, who's going to lead the Blood Elves? But would the Blood Elves allow? They wouldn't allow themselves to be led by a highborn, right?
Do the Blood Elves have any sort of political anything? They're kind of just the drug addict guys, and then they were like, "We don't really like the Horde," and I don't know what they're doing. A bunch of them left to go be Void Elves?
I don't know, just because we're Alliance boys, but I feel like the only thing I know about Blood Elf people is they have Lor'themar, who has done nothing, and they have Lady Leandrin, who has done, honestly, infinitely more. It seems like I see her way more than I see Lor'themar. But other than that, who else do they fucking have?
Honestly, I think in this next expansion, we're going to have a lot of elf storylines in general, it seems, because if you just look at the customization options they're having, maybe we're going to have some weird tie-in storylines between all of them. I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into it.
Well,
okay,
I just heard you say we're going to have a lot of elf-based stories, and here's my 1900s stocking cap plopped on my head. I'm ready to sleep my way through Shadowlands. Whoo.
Sleepylands.
But I think, isn't it also rumored that we don't just fight Kael'thas? I think we, like, save Kael'thas, or, like, we're attempting to, like, purify him or something.
He is a part of the Revendreth, so I think he's going to be my pal.
Because isn't the whole thing about the Revendreth, isn't, like, seeking, like, redemption? Isn't that, like, what their whole shtick is? So what if, like, Kael'thas comes out being like, "I realize how wrong I was, and I'm ready to lead my people again"? What happens?
That's a good question, and I guess we'll just have to wait to find out.
As long as he gives me those shoulders, I don't care what he does.
Well, I guess that about wraps up our discussion of this short story, and looks like we're running short on time, so I'm just going to throw us right on into our top toot, bottom boot, or medium moot of the week. I'm going to go first this time. This week, I have a bottom boot.
Oh no, baby, no. What happened?
As I mentioned earlier in the podcast, I spent quite a bit of time this week doing my Call to Arms / Tour of Duty in Zuldazar, and as I mentioned, the entirety of it basically was in the Horde capital city, and particularly by the docks. But there was this one fire mage that we kept trying to kill, my group, and she would blink several times away and escape us, and then eventually we ended up over by their location where their portal is. I believe it's the portal to Daza, probably, right?
Probably, yeah, if it was by a ship.
Yeah, I think so.
So she resorted to, whenever we got her down to like 20% health, we were about to kill her, she would just jump into the portal so that she couldn't die.
Oh, and then she come back out and then fucking keep firing at you guys?
Yeah, so like she wouldn't kill us, but we were unable to kill her. Like the 5 of us just could not. I even tried to like mind control her off and jump her into the water, but still wasn't quite enough to kill her somehow. I don't understand. It was so annoying.
It's interesting too because I know like the blinks help, but as fire mages, we really only have one thing to stave off damage, that being pyroclastic shield. So it's interesting that she was even able to not die. She must have just been next to that portal the entire time.
She was, like, literally, she would just pop in and out of the portal, bop us a few times, and it's like, is this even fun for you? Why are you doing this?
I guess I could see the appeal if I was her, just like slipping out, fucking with them, coming back, firing some pyroblasts, then going back out of the portal, wasting their time.
But it's also wasting her time, so I don't know.
Sounds kind of fun as a mage, so I might try that.
Ugh. Aaron, what do you got this week?
This week, I have a top toot.
Ooh,
So,
toot-toot.
while doing research for topics for Heroes Call Board, I came upon a wholesome little thread called Eye Patch Appreciation Thread. And when I clicked on it, it was just people talking about which eye patches they liked, how to get them, which armor classes can use them. Like there was one guy who was like, I'm shaman, I'm a male, I can't use eye patches. And someone goes, don't worry, friend, here are all the eye patches that you can use as a male user. And everyone had eye patches on in their little portrait. And actually the guy who posted that, I looked at his portrait and he did have an eye patch on, so he went and got it. It was just a nice, wholesome thread.
Wow. Okay, I love that eye patch love.
Yep, eye patches around the nation. I don't think plate wearers can use one, so sorry, plate wearers. The rest of the 3 of us get to have fun.
Whatever.
Slidewhistle, what was your TTBBMM?
I have a medium moot this week.
The trifecta, one of each.
It was going to be a bottom boot, but then I realized the problem did not lie in the systems, or maybe it has, but mostly in me. I have fallen severely behind on my corruption cap on my cape. Wow, it's hard to say.
Yeah, come on.
I think I'm like, I don't know, I think I'm like 4 cores behind, but I don't want to fucking do horrific visions. I'm so sick of them. I don't want to do another one. And we haven't been doing our raid nights as usual. Like we were doing our achievement hunt last week. We took a week off the week before. And so it's like, I can't get any cores. And I'm not going to go fucking pug N'Zoth for a core. I'm just done with that shit. I want to do I want to level alt. I want to do other shit. I wish that there was a better system of catching up on your cores in place. Maybe like a third option, like a PvP option. That'd be cool. But I mean, I guess I realized if I just did the content that took maybe like 20 minutes, 40 minutes combined for both of them, I'd be fine. But I don't want to. So it's immediate moot because it's both my fault and it's Blizzard's fault. Somebody fix it. And whether that's me or Blizzard, I don't care. Someone get on this.
Yes, go fix it. Go code the game, Slidewhistle, to fix that.
I think I could do it. I was doing a lot of MySpace coding back in the day. I think I can make a sick new core code in there.
What is World of Warcraft if not just an intricate MCR background banner?
Oh man, that'd be awesome if it really was. Remember how GIFs used to look back in the day? How they were like flashing and like had all those sparkles on them and stuff?
Hell yeah, brother. That's how I got my top 8 and made it a top 16.
Ooh, spicy.
I didn't have 16 friends.
What a loser.
Yeah, I had like a top 4 and one of them was Tom, so.
All right, okay, come on. This isn't a pity party.
Hey,
Get the pity party out of here.
Don't drag this down at the end.
All right, well, we're getting out of here because this fucking his pity party over here is making us all feel bad. If you guys have any questions, comments, complaints, send us an email. If you want to get ahead of the curve and send us some sexiest NPC recommendations, we're here. We're open. We're listening. I ain't doing nothing. I ain't working tomorrow, I don't think. You can send us an email at donotrelenttpod@gmail.com or tweet at us on Twitter at donotrelenttpod. What about you guys? Where can I find you on the internet?
You can find me, Alex or Immunization, on Twitter at NewEraAlex, or you can find our podcast Instagram account, which I need to update, on Instagram at Do Not Relent.
You can find me, Aaron the Human, at The Bigacheesy on Twitter, and you can follow our literary musings at livejournal.donotrelent.com. My most recent posting was a book review of Storm Rage by Richard Knack. I got the name of the book wrong for so long, and the review is essentially me saying it was boring, but go read it, please.
We can cross-post these. I'll post it on Twitter right now. You gotta let me know when you post them, and then I'll just put it on the tweeter.
Oh, boy.
But, yep. See you guys next week, maybe? Who knows? No, yeah, we'll see you next week. And remember...
Yeah, we still doing this shit.
Yeah, fuck y'all. And remember...
Another down! Do not relent!
Do Not Relent is a podcast within the 3HNC network, representing U.S. Proudmoore's premier podcasts.
That was a very good wish.